Seamus is going to start us off. This is his mock. I have no idea what he's going to do. I'm just here to show my beautiful face. Seamus, you got it, man.
Yeah, I did a little mock right here. It's gonna be the final one for me, and Dylan do another one.
Yep.
Probably coming out a day after, the same day. But I had a couple trades in here. You never know what's gonna happen, but have a little fun with it. There's gonna be some similar things to the first mock that we dropped, but there's just some things that I really like that could happen. First, we're gonna go Cam Ward though to the Titans. I think it's just kind of obvious. There's a reason that
I
he's the
agree.
first overall pick. I've said it before, but he's the best quarterback in the draft. He has what seems to be the highest potential, and the Titans just really need a quarterback right now. And I don't think there's much more of an explanation that we really need for that one. I'm going to go to two, and it's going to be Travis Hunter. This is another one where I just think it's going to happen. I think it just seems like the Browns are leaning way more towards Trav than Abdul from stuff that we've heard, but who knows? But I think that Trav definitely has a good shot to go to, and I mean, there's a reason he's an absolute
No,
unicorn. Yeah, I went with unicorn right there though.
I mean he really is though. If there's anyone
Yeah,
that's a dog and a step above that, a unicorn, it's him playing both sides.
yeah.
I like
Do
both
you?
of those picks.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Yeah, yeah. Pick one is a lock. Like you said, there's not much to say about that. Um, I think two and three is where and maybe four is where the draft starts to change its trajectory. Uh, but I
yeah,
like Travis Hunter, and I know in our previous mock together we elaborated more on that. But
yeah. And I think it should be said that um, apparently there's been a lot of like calls that have been called for two and three to the Browns and the Giants. We heard that today from Peter Schrager, and that dude, he's a super reliable source. So there's a shot that a team, I would say probably more in the top 10 would move up. And he said it wasn't for quarterbacks. So it'd be someone trying to move up for Travis and Abdul. And I don't really know why the Browns or the Giants would do that, but I guess if they got enough, it could happen. But with that being said, I'm going to put Abdul to the Giants right here. And I just really think this dude, I think he might be the best player in the draft. He's an edge rusher, so it's a position of absolute value. And, I just think, like I said, he's going to be great. It doesn't matter that they already have two edge rushers. I think that there's a chance they can move off of them or one of them, like Kayvon Thibodeau, or who knows, maybe they just have a crazy rotation, have a great edge rush this year, which would be good for the Giants.
yeah, you can't have too deep of a edge rushing roster. Honestly, I like this. Whether they trade Thibodeau or not, Abdul on the Giants with Thibodeau and Brian Burns, dude, that'll be and Dexty on the
Yeah,
line. I
yeah,
like this.
yeah. And then this is another one that we had in the first one, but I really like. I think this is something that not a lot of people are talking about, and I think it could be the first shakeup, and that's Jalen Walker to the Pats. He's a monster. He's a freak athlete from Georgia, and he has so much versatility that I think it'd be something that Vrabel would want to bring in his first year, and kind of make the defense have a weapon in the front seven.
Yeah, Jalen Walker is the next best versatile edge rusher, right? And I feel like just like Abdul Carter, he gives you that off the ball potential, you know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I really like Jalen Walker could be the next best Vrabel guy, honestly.
yeah, 100%. I would love to see him go there.
Him with Harold
Not as a
Landry,
but yeah,
both. I mean, I'm not. I
and
said that
he
like
could play.
Harold Landry's a dog, absolute dog,
Yeah.
but
This is another one that I just saw today that Adam Schefter said. that there's like he basically made it seem like he was positive that they weren't going to go Mason Graham, like everyone's been thinking that they're going to go offense, and it makes sense because they got a new offensive coach in Liam Cohen, and I really wanted to put Genty here because there's a lot of steam for Genty going here, which would be crazy, I think, but that it seems like it could happen. But I'm gonna go Tet McMillan, and he's cold, and I think he could be really good in the league, but I think it'd be a little crazy to draft him here, but it's not what I would do if I was in. It's what I think they're gonna do, and I think they could go one of those two guys I mentioned, or even Tyler Warren, because I just think that offensive coach, Liam Cohen, that is, really would want to go offense and kind of get T-Law another weapon.
Yeah, I think him next to Shador are the biggest question marks in this draft. Like
Yeah,
he could go, and by that I mean they could also both of them could go as early as here, both of them, or second round even. In my opinion, I think Tet has a real slip possibility.
yeah, it feels like the first, like one of those. I would say the first draft that I could think of where there's so many players that have such a wide range that they could go to, and this is one of them right here in Tet McMillan. But it makes sense too because he's coming from the Bucks, and they had Mike Evans, and they have similar frames and whatnot. So I'll be interested to see what happens here. But I'll just say look out for Genty for sure. All right, and on to the Raiders. I have them going Aston Genty, the dude that I've been mentioning right here. Um, they obviously got a lot of holes to fill, but Genty is a guy that can come in and be instantly an instant impact, and they need a running back really bad. They don't have anything back there besides Raheem Mostert, who they just signed, and he's injury prone. You don't want to rely on that. I would be interested to see if Pete Carroll and the Raiders would actually do this, but I think they definitely could. And I think it would be a solid pick for him, given that he's probably a top 3 guy in the draft.
Yeah, Genty, dude, him with Pete Carroll in that system. I know they're on the hunt for a running back. It's gonna happen one or two, like round one or two.
Yeah.
I like this pick, dude. People start really saying he's going to be better than Saquon. I don't know about that, but there's no telling, man.
I don't think he's as crazy of a prospect as like Saquon or even but Bijan or
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I
think of
agree.
other guys.
Maybe
Yeah,
Gibbs. Maybe
yeah,
that might be. I don't know. We're gonna see, man.
yeah, yeah. He played in the Mountain West, so
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a dog, but it's definitely a big change to the NFL. 7 to the Jets. I think there's a couple options here. They obviously have a defensive head coach, first time guy, so they could definitely go defense. But I'm gonna have them going offensive tackle Armand Mimbu, and they just have a hole at right tackle, and they could really solidify their O line for the future with him and Olu Fashanu on the left side. I also think they could go a guy like Tyler Warren here, and then, like I said, a defender. Um, it'll just be interesting to see what they do right here because this is the point in the draft, in my opinion, where if it goes how it did, it's kind of a step down a little bit. Besides maybe Mason Graham, depending on your opinion, and I really like Jahdae Barron, but the top tier guys have kind of gone, so they could go any which way. But I got them going to tackle here.
yeah, I like that. You're right. I mean, they can get Tyler Warren. They can go defense. I know Aaron Glenn is probably thinking defense, but you can't go wrong with Membu.
Yeah, 100%. And then this right here is where I have a major shakeup in the draft. I have the Miami Dolphins moving up from 13 to 8 with the Carolina Panthers. A chance that apparently they really want Jalen Walker, but other than that, I could see them trading down. And a team like Miami that needs an interior D lineman like Mason Graham so much, I have them trading up and picking him. And their interior D line is horrendous. They've traded up before in the past for Jalen Waddle, and right here, this would be assuming that they think that Mason Graham is one of the best players in the draft, and he very well could be. But this guy coming up would definitely help out Miami fill out a big hole in the interior of the D line.
Yeah, 100%. If they want Jalen Walker and he's not there, why not trade back? And I know they've talked about doing it. The only thing I would be skeptical on is Mason Graham even gonna go before 13 at this point? Like that's a possibility.
Yeah,
I know everyone has them
yeah,
mocked within the first 7 picks, but I don't know. These are the things we don't know as fans. The GMs they're probably buddies, and they call and they're like, "Look, man, we're not getting this. We're not going to get this guy." But
yeah,
Panthers will trade back if Jalen Walker's not there if that's their guy.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and I was kind of deciding because I really thought the Panthers would trade if it went like this. But you obviously need a partner, and if you kind of look at the teams that are right there, I think the Saints could easily pick him. That's why I had the Dolphins trading up for him. But also the Niners would have been a hot team to pick
Yeah,
him too.
I agree.
And even the Bears could have picked him and shored up their D line a little bit more. So I
100%.
just thought that the Dolphins, but this will be a risk for the Panthers because that their guy. Other than that, I was kind of reading up. Apparently, there's a lot of steam towards Mike Green going there. So
Yeah,
I think they could stick and pick him too. But there's also other edge rushers like Michael Williams and Shamar Stewart that could be considered kind of the same level as a Mike Green. Yeah, this is another switch up I have right here, um, and it is going to be that the Saints go with Tyler Warren, and this might be a little bit of a surprise, but I think that their tight end room is relatively mid tier at best, and that I think they could go Tet for sure, maybe even Shador, but their tight end room not good. I really think they could just use another weapon for the future, and I'm a big Tyler Warren guy. He can block really well. I was thinking about putting Will Campbell right here, and I
yeah,
think this pick and the next pick could be switched, and I'll spoil that one. That one's going to be Will Campbell, and I'll kind of explain a little bit of both of them, but Tyler Warren, like I said, he could block well, and he's just a weapon in the pass game. Someone that could grow with Kellen Moore in the Saints for the future. And it seems like something that is not being talked about much at all, and it probably won't even happen. But I think it would be cool to see this happen. And he would be a dynamic weapon for the Saints. And then the Bears, I got Will Campbell. This would be kind of a thing where people might say their O line's kind of shored up already, but look what the Jets did last year and getting Olu Fashanu in the top 10. And he didn't start for a good amount of the year because they already had two tackles. And then an injury happens and he comes in and he's just a good player in general for the future to have. I think the Bears could definitely do something like that because their new head coach Ben Johnson is coming from the Lions, and that's a team that they know how to pound the rock and have good O line. So I think he's going to emphasize just being able to have a good O line.
yeah. You mentioned the depth. 5 starters on the offensive line. If someone gets hurt, you need another guy. But also, everyone's talking about the short arms. Having that depth for a guy that they are screaming is going to be a guard. I mean, to know that he's got the dog mentality and can play tackle, guard, freaking center. That's a great versatile guy to have for depth and a stud on the line in the future, if not next season.
Yeah, 100%. I think it would just be a good fit because of what we've seen in the past. Like I said, coming from the Lions, I think their dream would be for Genty to fall right here, but the way it's sounding, the way it's looking, it just kind of seems like he's going to be going maybe even top five. But um,
Yeah,
from here, I'm gonna, and this is where my mock is a lot different from the first one that we did. It's kind of this middle right here because I have the Niners, who I've said already in our other mock, they have a lot of holes, a lot more than we've ever remembered them having in the last 5, 6 years. I think I have them going Walter Nolan right here, and I think this is the very top of where he could go in the draft. I think he could fall to the second round like we have him falling, but I think the teens is like really the sweet spot for where he could go. And like I said, they have so many holes to fill. O linemen, they would be salivating if Will Campbell would have fell right here. They would have picked him instantly. They would have turned the card in 30 seconds. But after that, I got them going Walter Nolan, and I will say this would be a dream for the Panthers because I think they could easily go Mike Green right here
Yeah, the
because
guy's
they
still
need
there.
yeah the Niners could easily go Mike Green because they just need D linemen. They're only really known D lineman right now is Nick Bosa, so they just need help in the interior really bad. So I got them going Walter Nolan.
Yeah, I like that. I know. Like you said, we had Walter Nolan going in the second round, but even when we picked him in the second round, we knew this could be a guy to go way earlier. Um, you tell me all the time it takes one team to fall in love with the guy, and maybe they aren't in love with Walter Nolan, but he's a great player. And dude, they need so much stuff. Like they could pick best available and proceed
Yeah,
the Niner way, I guess.
yeah, 100%. And apparently he has a ton of potential. So that'd be
Yeah,
another thing where they're taking a dude with a lot of upside too, and he already could be considered, I'm sure, by a couple teams as the best D tackle in the draft.
dude, shame.
But at
I
12
haven't
here,
seen. Sorry to interrupt you. I haven't
no, you're
seen.
good.
I haven't seen a guy take on double team blocks like this dude. Have you seen it, dude? The high motor, just
No,
like he has to be pissed off. There's no way he's playing like that, like that, not
he's
pissed
just
off,
playing angry.
dude. Yeah, and like there's just these explosive plays as a D tackle, and a lot of them come from double team blocks, and that's just a dream, dude.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'd be a really good fit for the Niners here, especially moving him around and putting him next to Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
At 12 here, I have the boys going Matthew Golden out of Texas. Yeah, I think this
Matt
would
Golden.
fit. Yeah, I think this would fit for a lot of reasons. He's the most, I'd say, quick and fastest receiver in the draft. He obviously ran what a 4.3.
Four
He's
two nine.
a great route runner,
That's a big
and I
difference,
think
James. Four two
yeah,
nine, four
14.
three.
You're right.
Come
You're
on.
right. You're right. That too. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But that difference right there, that .01, that's the stuff that gets you touchdowns right there.
Yeah,
And I think that him instead of Tet would be a good fit, even if Tet was there, because there's just a lot of reasons to like Matthew Golden. I think if Tet was here, there'd be a good chance the Cowboys could pick him, but he went fifth, obviously. And I just like the fit for the Cowboys to go get the UT product.
yeah, I love that pick and pairing him with CD. I mean, Dak will officially run out of excuses. I'm actually
Yeah,
not a Dak hater, just to throw that out there. But
yeah,
Golden
stoke
with
the
CD,
fire.
yeah, yeah. But CD and Golden, dude, come on, I like it.
And if this happened right here, this would make the Panthers have an A+ draft, in my opinion, and it'd be them getting Mike Green out of Marshall.
Yeah,
I already kind of mentioned it earlier, but he's kind of the guy that I've been seeing that they would want if it wasn't Jalen Walker. And if you look at their defense, they do have a massive need at edge, and their defense just was not good last year. Straight up, they were one of the worst
yeah,
defenses in the league, and I think this would be a great fit.
yeah. I love it, dude. Easy Brian Burns replacement just a few years later, but a rookie deal, edge rusher. I feel like the Panthers are starting to blossom into the team that thought they were going to be a couple years ago. Um, Getting the help on defense from Mike Green, dude, he is so explosive. We just talked about Walter Nolan having a high motor. This dude is just relentless every single play. Um, I know we've got multiple friends, Seamus, high on Mike Green.
Yeah,
We wouldn't. I mean, I think I speak for you on this. I don't think we would be surprised if he went top 7, top 8.
yeah,
I mean, even if the Panthers don't feel like trading down and just rip him at 8, I mean, I wouldn't even be
100%. And
surprised.
they could, if Genty went 5 or something crazy happens, then maybe the Raiders would be willing to trade down, and the Panthers or some team would move up for him or someone else.
Yeah,
But if there's one thing that we know is always true, is that there's going to be crazy shit that happens and shakeups in the draft. So
yeah,
you never know. And this seems like a draft where the closer it gets, the more it seems like there's just a ton of question marks, which makes it exciting going into. Oh yeah, my bad. At 14 right here, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Colston Loveland, and this is another one where would probably be his ceiling. Yeah, ceiling I would say for where he could go. Um, him at 14. This would be if Tyler Warren would go, because I think if Warren was here, he would go to the Colts. But they have a glaring need at tight end, and I'm really high on this. I think he's going to be solid in the league, if not really good. And Michigan's pass game really went through him a lot of the times the past 2 years, and they won the national championship 2 years ago. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will.
yeah. He's a guy you can put in line, flex outside, and get that mismatch that you want. You're definitely right when you say this is a ceiling. I don't see any way this dude goes higher than 14. But the Colts need a tight end. Everyone has Tyler Warren going there, but you got him going to the Saints, so they got to go to the backup plan. I like it. He could be the guy that AR has that finally gets him to become the player everybody wants to see him become. I like it.
Yeah, I will say this. I think my opinion is that I just do not see a chance that he falls below 10, Tyler Warren. I don't think Tyler Warren will fall below 10. That's
That's
my
Seamus'
prediction right
take.
now.
Seamus'
Yeah,
take of the
hot
draft.
take. um, at 15 right here to the Falcons, I think they definitely go defense right here, and it would be either edge rusher or corner, and I have them going edge rusher, and that is Micah Williams out of Georgia. Have him stick in Georgia. I've said it multiple times. I trust Georgia defenders, and it's no different with Micah Williams. I think that he'll definitely come in and be an absolute dog for the Falcons. And they went Penix last year. I would be surprised if they don't go defense like I mentioned earlier this year, because they have a defensive head coach in his second year. So he definitely, in my opinion, is going to want to stamp his name on the defense.
Yeah, man, I love the pick, but from Atlanta's move last year, we have no idea what they're gonna do this year, dude.
No,
They're
not
gonna
at all.
they're probably gonna go kicker right here. I mean, the people forget how shocked we were when Penix went last year, man.
Yeah, yeah, or just Shador, two quarterback system.
Dude, I would just turn it off. We would no longer be streaming on Friday. This channel would just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that happens. We're just deleting the channel. Right here to the Cardinals, I have them picking one of the better corners, if not the best corner in the draft, and Jade Barron. They need cornerback help. They do have some underrated corners, and I think this could be Jahad Campbell, but I think there's a chance that Jade could go top 10 even as early as 6 to the Raiders. I don't think it'll happen, but I think there's a possibility. And him falling here, I think the Cardinals just wouldn't pass up the chance.
Yeah, and in our defense video, we mentioned the corner that was at Garrett Williams.
Yeah,
We mentioned Garrett Williams being a top 3 corner on PFF. Clearly, I'm not seeing enough Cardinals games because I know you say he's a dog, but to pair Jahdae Barron, who could play slot corner, safety, whatever you want him to do, he'll play it at an elite level. But they're starting to get a bit of a defense in Arizona. I think if they got Jahdae Barron, that'd be a really exciting pick.
Yeah, I can't really remember the last time that they just had a really good and solid defense all around. So I think that Gannon's going to want to come in and continue his plan of just building it up because, like I've mentioned with other teams before, he's a defensive guy, and you can really tell how teams are built through their head coach and their identity. I feel like,
100%.
yeah. And then 17 here, I have the Bengals, who we have trading in the last mock, picking Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. And I think this pick will definitely be a D lineman. It could be a D tackle, but they just extended BJ Hill, and they have Chris Jenkins. They just drafted, I want to say, 1 or 2 years ago in the second round, and they just have a big hole at edge rusher, and that's if they keep Trey Hendrickson. If they lose Trey Hendrickson, which I don't think that they will, they would be in even more of a need. But I could see them going any of the edge rushers available here, be it Anzo Raku, any of the guys who are left, James Pierce maybe. But right here, I got them going with the athletic freak and Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, it's crazy. We had him all the way up at 7. I know some people are like, dude, what? Um, this is really where I see a lot of people's mocks having Shamar Stewart. But you're right, especially if Trey Henderson doesn't get re-signed. The Bengals got to go D line.
100%. Dude, their edge situation, if Hendrickson doesn't resign, is probably the worst in the league right now. I'm
Yeah,
not even playing
we'll
with
be
you.
starting every running back against their defense in fantasy every
Yeah,
single week, man. Yeah,
this is another one where I have a big shakeup right here, and it's one pick away from where we did in our first mock. But yeah, I got the Browns trading up and getting Shador Sanders with the Seahawks.
yeah. If you're telling Miles Garrett, obviously the money, he was probably just trying to get the bag. But if Miles Garrett is saying that the Browns truly had a plan, this had to be in the plan, right? There's no way they just maybe they get Kirk Cousins in free agency. But there's no way you do what you do at 2, which there's no way they're taking a QB at 2, right? Like
I
there's
don't
too
think
many
so.
good players right there. They've got to trade up. They got early second rounder, 33rd pick. Um, they've got to make this move. And if they do make this move, they could be a serious threat in the AFC North off the rip.
Yeah, they have a good roster already, so the fact
Yeah.
that they were so bad is just like a result of their quarterback situation.
Yeah.
And at 19 here to the Bucks, I have them going Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. This is another dude that's versatile, but he's definitely got way more of a potential and a probability to play off the ball. And him learning from Levante David and kind of carrying the torch from him and being a potential 10-year guy for them off the ball and off the edge. I really like it. He's a weapon on the defense, and it's an SEC guy out of Bama. So, like I've said before, on defense coming from the SEC, especially Georgia, Bama, any of those teams, I got a lot more trust in them to work out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's gone this far in your mock, Seamus. This dude's a freaking dog. But pairing him
Yeah,
with Levante David for 2 years or for a year, having those two together, that's going to be a great little duo. And I think Jahad Campbell learning from that dude is best case scenario.
yeah,
But if they make this move, that's got to be it for. If they make this move, that's got to be it for Levante David after the fact, right?
potentially. But the other thing that I liked about this one is he does have the versatility to come off the edge, and they do need an edge rusher also. So there'd be a shot that he'd come off the edge a lot this first year.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And then I have your Broncos going with Luther Burden out of Missouri.
I love it.
And I think this, if I had to guess, would be, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think they'd probably want, obviously, I think if Genty fell to like 8 or something like that, there's a very high likelihood they would trade up with the Panthers and go and get him. And maybe they could go Amari and Hampton right here. And there's been some buzz for Colson Loveland. So it seems like it's all weapons on the offense that are mocked and projected to go to the Broncos. And it makes sense, help out Bo Nix. But right here, I got him getting Luther Burden. And I just see the fit right here. It makes a lot of sense. They need a receiver bad, and he's a weapon. I think they would want, I don't think they would get Tet McMillan, but Matthew Golden. I haven't heard much about Ibuka, but I could see the fit there. But right here, I got him getting Luther Burden.
I'll tell you this, Seamus. If they go Ted McMillan, and I know I sound like a D1 Ted hater, but if they go Ted McMillan or Amarion Hampton, those are the only picks that I feel like I'll be a little disappointed about. But Luther Burden, I would be damn excited about. This dude, this dude has that Debo versatility, and I think he's a lot quicker and not as fat as Debo. So this could be this could be a good move, man.
Yeah, but you just need to wait 5 years down the line. Maybe he'll turn a
No
little
shot,
chunked up like
dude.
Debo is.
No shot.
21st right here, I have the Steelers going Jackson Dart. And I have the Browns trading up to 18 to jump the Steelers because my gut is starting to tell me that they would probably pick Shador over Dart, or apparently Jalen Milrose in play. But I just think that Dart would be a guy that could come in. They don't have Rodgers yet. Everyone thinks he's going to go there, but their starting quarterback is Mason Rudolph. So I don't think Rodgers is going to sign in the next 2 days. So they need to go and get a quarterback, and I think they would go get Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, and there seems to be a pattern with these last couple of drafts, like a panic in the teams that need a QB or think they need that next guy, like right now.
Yeah.
Last year, just it seems like once all the good guys flew off the board, a QB wasn't taken for a while. I feel like that's starting to become a thing, and we'll see, and we'll see, and we'll see what happens on draft night. But it'll be this will be it. This the Steelers, if they sign A Rod, I mean I can't imagine it will be before the draft, but that'll change up the whole Steelers pick if he just signed tomorrow. You know?
No, 100%. They could still go with him though, but I think that if A Rod magically signed tomorrow, they'd probably go somewhere else. Maybe they still would, even if he doesn't. But right here, 22, I initially would think that Colson Loveland would be the automatic pick if he was available, but he's not. So I'm going to have them going with another Michigan man for Jim Harbaugh, and that's Kenneth Grant. And if you look at the Chargers, their D line, especially on the interior, is super weak. And we know that Jim likes to build from the trenches offensively and defensively.
Yep.
And it makes a lot of sense to me right here. He's already picked some of his Michigan guys that he's coached in the past, and it's kind of getting towards the end of the road of how many of them that he has coached. So I think that if it felt like this, they would go Kenneth Grant and just kind of clog the trenches up right there.
Yeah, I love that pick. He's another guy we had falling to the second round that we thought easily could be a first rounder. Kenneth Grant, dude, he has that. I said it in our other mock. He's got that huge build, but he moves so quick. Like he's probably not as dominant on the double teams as far as being explosive like Walter Nolan, but he's freaking massive. Great pick. I love it.
Yeah, this feels like another one where if I'm making some predictions like Stephen A. Smith or something, I feel like they're going to go with a Michigan guy right here in the first round.
Yeah,
But
like it.
with the next pick, I think that the Packers would be really excited if Will Johnson was still on the board, and I have them going with him. They already have a pretty solid cornerback room, but they definitely need a third one. And then we start hearing rumors about Jair Alexander, their all pro corner, and trade rumors and whatnot. So I think that if they did this, it'd be two things. One, there'd be maybe even a more of a chance that Jair could get traded. But two, I think if he fell to the Packers, they would pick him because he's a lot of people CB1 in the draft besides Trav. But um, I think they would definitely pull the trigger here. And they have a couple other needs, but for the value and the pick at 23, I think Will Johnson would be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors that he's not very fast. I saw a lot of zone and not a lot of man out of him. We've seen him get absolutely cooked by the good receivers in college. Last year, there seemed to be a narrative, or I mean, Quinion Mitchell late, DeJean late. The corners just fell last year, and this is a guy I could easily see falling this year. But you're right, the Packers, to see him just chilling right there, already wanting to move on from Jair Alexander, easy pick.
Yeah. And to the Vikings, I have them going with safety Nick Emanwari, and he's the first safety off the board. But I think there's a good chance that he could definitely go before 24. He's a athletic freak. We saw in the NFL Combine, and those dudes tend to go high. And in our first mock, we had the Dolphins getting him at 13, but here I have them trading up, and that would kind of be the one of the top end places that he could go. And this is kind of like the sweet spot right here where the Vikings need a safety really bad. Maybe they like Malachi Starks more, but there's been a lot of rumors that Eamon Ward is the guy that they like. And I think this would be a guy that Vikings fans could be extremely excited about. And he can learn from Harrison Smith and just be a versatile dog all over the field on defense.
Yeah, when you see his measurements, dude, you just want to see him play. You want to see what he's going
100%.
to do in the league. They compared him to Derwin. Dude, that I can't wait. I can't wait to get in Madden and freaking fly around with them, bro.
Yeah.
User pick you. Anyways, Texans are up.
Yeah. Yeah, the Texans, this is another one that feels like if he's there, they're going to go with it, and that's Kelvin Banks out of Texas. I think that they'll definitely go offensive tackle here, one of these kind of second-tier guys under Will Campbell and Mimbu. But there's just been a lot of rumors and mocks and all that stuff that have Kelvin Banks staying close in Houston. And I really like the fit. I think him replacing Laramie Tunsil would be huge. I think getting him at 25 would be a really good value. There's a chance he could definitely go above this. I just don't know who it would be to, obviously, but I think this would be a good little fit right here for the Texans.
Yeah, this is the next gimme next to Cam Ward, right? I
Yeah,
mean, as far as going offensive line for the Texans, watch
100%.
draft night. We'll be wrong somehow,
Oh yeah,
just like most analysts. But easy pick for the Texans.
yeah. And then I'm in my last trade right here, and that is the Eagles moving up from 26. We had this in our first mock, but it's just something I can see happening. If Malachi Starks falls and he falls to 26 or somewhere around here, maybe even earlier, I can see the Eagles moving up and getting him. They really just don't have holes on their team, so it's almost a luxury pick. And getting a guy this good from Georgia, I like that. It just seems seamless. They get so many steals at the end of the draft, and this one wouldn't necessarily be him falling to them. It'd be them going to get him, but they've done it before, and I could see him doing it again right here.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't watched our 2-round mock, you should. Where we go in depth on the picks. Um, this is like Seamus said. This is a trade we did in that mock, and I have fallen in love with the trade too. Don't be surprised if you see me make the same exact move in my mock.
Yeah, Yeah. 27. I was thinking about a couple different guys right here to the Ravens. I could see them going offensive line. A guy like Gray Zabel or any of those linemen that are available. Probably an interior lineman, maybe Tyler Booker. But I ended up deciding on James Pierce out of Tennessee, and this is a guy with a lot of upside. He's someone that a lot of people could see being the top edge rusher in his NFL career from this draft class, and I don't think anyone would be surprised about that. And I think there'd be a lot better chance of him doing that if he went to the Ravens or any squad towards the bottom here that are established and have good coaching and everything. And I think the fit would be seamless right here, and he would fit right in with that Baltimore defense and be coming off the edge instantly. And he could have a big season next year because a guy like Kyle Van Noy had, I want to say, 12 and a half sacks at his kind of older veteran stage in his career. So if you get a young guy like James Pierce flying off the edge coming from the Baltimore Ravens, he could do crazy things in his rookie year.
Yeah, Pierce falling to any of these established teams here at the end of the first round, that's the best case scenario for him. Ravens with Harbaugh, money.
Yeah.
That's a perfect situation for him.
Yeah. I think any guys going to either the Harbaugh brothers are going to be in a good spot to develop and just play good football and reach their potential.
Yeah.
And then this right here, this was an interesting one because I thought the Lions could definitely go edge rusher, but I'm not going to go that way. I'm going with Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State.
Love it.
And you could say they have Amon Ra and they have, you know, you could say they have Amon Ra and Jamison Williams, but first of all, getting Jared Goff another weapon would not hurt, especially Emeka Ibuka, who I personally think could be maybe even the best receiver in this class when it's all said and done, depending on where he goes. I really like him. And him going in to the line system and going there, I think it would be a fit like none other because he's coming from Ohio State, and everything that's told about this dude is that he's a high class dude and someone that was really a leader in the locker room for Ohio State. So it just makes a lot of sense, and maybe they don't re-sign Jamison Williams because he's probably going to be asking for a little bag. So I think Ibuka could slide in right here, and also I would be pretty surprised if he fell this far, but I think there's a chance it could happen.
Dude, yeah. I saw today actually that Jamison Williams is potentially on the trade block for the Lions. So, yeah, Seamus, what do you have? What do you have going here at the commies?
Yeah, 29. I have the commies, and I could have seen this at any of these teams as a potential trade up for the Chiefs to get an offensive tackle, but I didn't do that because I kind of thought that the commies also needed an O lineman, so I had them picking Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, and he's a versatile dude, and that's really what they need on their O line right now. The right tackle isn't great, but they also have a big injury for Sam Cosmi, and I don't really know if he's going to be back to start the year or not. So bringing in Gray's able to be a versatile dude, and apparently he's just a dog that a ton of teams like, and bringing him into the commies, I think getting their line shirt up for Jaden would be huge.
Yeah, I love this dude. He could go a lot earlier. His versatility, dude, and the ability to play it all of those positions at the level he played it at. I know it's North Dakota State, but other than Trey Lance, we don't see a lot of failures come out of there, man.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Considering they're D1 AA.
Yeah.
And then here to the Bills, I would love if this happened as a Bills fan. I have them going Derek Harmon out of Oregon. This is
Yeah.
another dude that seems like he's getting a lot more hype and buzz as the draft has gotten closer. But, I have him falling right here to the Bills, and, they need a D tackle pretty bad. They have, Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, and Daquan's an underrated guy, but kind of older. And I think bringing in a guy like Derek Harmon would be huge. I think it would help shore up the D line for the future. And the Bills run a rotational D line, so most of the time a D lineman isn't even playing 60% of the snaps in the game. So it just makes a lot of sense for what they do, and I would really like to fit.
Yeah, this would be best case scenario as well for the Bills, dude. Obviously, um, we had Trey Amos going there last time. This is a much better pick than that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I know we were going a lot off visits, but
yeah. Let it be known that I would be pissed off if the Bills took Trey Amos in the first round.
yeah, I would be
Hopefully it
too.
worked out, but um, this would also be a ideal situation for the Chiefs. Like I said earlier, I could see them trading up, and I could see them trading up even in the early 20s for an offensive tackle. But I have them getting Josh Simmons right here, slide in to be that left tackle for the future. And this seems like another one that's just like, of course, the Chiefs get a guy that seems like he could be a beast in the league if he's developed right, which the Chiefs would probably do it, that fall right into their laps at 31. But just don't be surprised if the Chiefs trade up in the draft for a no tackle. I will say that.
I agree, and that them trading up could be the trade that screws the Texans' automatic
Yeah,
pick, right?
100%. Maybe the Vikings trade down because they've been a team that's trade down in the past.
Yeah, I can see
And
that too.
then to round it out right here, the reason that I have the Rams being okay with trading down with the Eagles is because I have them getting Jalen Milrow. Now, this is pretty much a complete shot in the dark. It's something we did in our first mock, but I'm just taking the chance right here. I think that he's just a beast running the ball. I've been seeing stuff that I saw something the other day that said coming out of the draft, he's the best running quarterback like ever, even over Lamar. And I
Lamar,
was like, oh, that's kind of crazy, but
yeah,
I mean, he's a good running quarterback. But this would be kind of Sean McVay taking a shot and just trying to develop a young quarterback, especially his arm and accuracy. Well, not his arm; he has a kind of a hose, but his accuracy and just reading the field. But this is the mock right here.
beautiful.
Obviously, probably, you know, two of these will be right and then the rest will be wrong, but we'll see.
Yeah, final mock. This is our first time doing mocks on PFF and not mock out, so we'll be able to reflect on these.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So,
If you guys,
yeah,
if you guys stuck around again, we appreciate it. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. We had a ton of people watch at least a couple of our videos that weren't subscribed. Uh, please do that and watch our other stuff, man. And
yeah,
if you don't like that shit, then tell us what to make, bro. We're
yeah,
having fun with this.
yeah.
But
Give us suggestions. We're just bullshitting, trying to figure it out as we go.
yeah, like I got the sunset on my face. Like we we figuring it out, man. But
And make sure tune in to potentially Thursday night stream after the draft, kind of a late night stream, and Friday night for sure, starting at 6 for day 2, round 2 and 3 of the draft, reacting, breaking it down,
yep,
shooting the shit, having
all
fun.
day Friday. You're gonna see uncut horseshit out of the two of us. We'll have
Yep.
special guests.
Special guest appearances.
Don't miss it, man.
Yep.
Thank you guys.